In the most remote corners of the world, we will talk about mountains that can be seen on Google Earth but are almost impossible to reach in reality. Some are so remote that even the scientific world struggled to discover them years later. Others have remained in place for centuries, and until now, no one has managed to climb their peaks. The entire list was compiled through extensive Google Earth research and in-depth studies of the world's most inaccessible places. The last mountain on the list is perhaps one of the most dangerous and inaccessible peaks on the planet. The sixth-ranked peak stands in a place where no one has dared to set foot for centuries. The mountain in fourth place is completely covered in ice and is one of Antarctica's most mysterious volcanoes. Let's start with number 1. It's also interesting how much of this list exists because of modern tools. A scientist zooming in on a random green patch on Google Earth uncovered one of Africa's last undiscovered forests. Precise aerial mapping revealed Alaska's true Arctic high point. Even Peru's forest kept a pyramid-shaped peak hidden until recently. The discovery is not over. It has only been moved to a new starting point, the satellite map on your screen. Thank you for watching. 1. Mount Siple, Antarctica. On the remote shores of Antarctica, it stands alone on the desolate Siple Island, a massive volcano that has never been climbed by anyone. Mount Siple, a shield volcano completely covered in ice, reaches an elevation of approximately 3,200 meters. It stands on a desolate island separated from the Antarctic mainland by an ice shelf. And even by Antarctic standards, almost no one has been able to go there. Mount Siple is generally listed as unclimbed, and many mountaineering databases consider it one of the most prominent unclimbed peaks on the planet. There is no detailed topographic map, only rough mapping and satellite imagery, meaning the true shape of all that structure beneath the ice is still largely unknown. It's so big and isolated that it's one of the most topographically significant peaks in all of Antarctica. Even among scientists, it has been hardly studied. Some expeditions have passed near the island, and a handful of teams may have set foot on the shore, but there is no confirmed ascent, and getting here is not as easy as you might think. To reach here, you would need an ice-strengthened research vessel operating in one of the most remote sea regions. A landing from the coast would face an expedition with cracked glacier slopes, harsh Antarctic storms, and zero rescue infrastructure. Each route would be a pure guess on a volcano buried in ice. 2. Gora Pobeda, Northeast Siberia, Russia. We are delving into the depths of Northeast Siberia. Gora Pobeda is one of the coldest inhabited places on Earth. Winter temperatures can drop below -50 degrees, and the nearest road is kilometers away. There is a peak in the Chersky Mountains that reaches an altitude of about 3,000 meters. And despite its height, it is known as one of the toughest and most remote climbs in the entire Northern Hemisphere. Getting there is not that easy. It is known that the nearest road is more than 350 kilometers away, and the nearest helicopter landing pad is roughly 1,300 kilometers or more than 800 miles away from the area. The wider area includes the coldest permanent settlement on Earth. In winter, air temperatures can drop below -50 degrees. In 1966, Gora Pobeda was first climbed by a mountaineering team. One of the most significant expeditions occurred in 2018 when 2 climbers completed the first winter ascent. They described such brutal conditions that their boots froze overnight. Winds ripped their tents. No shelter, no infrastructure, and no support. Just the endless Arctic wilderness. If you're interested in such explorations, consider subscribing to my channel. Let's continue exploring the most remote places in the world together. 3. Cerro El Cono, Eastern Peru, Amazon. We will talk about a perfectly conical peak hidden in the depths of the Amazon. A place that can be seen from hundreds of kilometers away, but is protected by contactless tribes and impenetrable rainforests. Cerro El Cono is a peak that rises from the forest in eastern Peru, almost in the shape of a perfect pyramid. At only about 700 meters high, but standing hundreds of meters above an otherwise flat ocean of trees, it looks completely alien. Cerro El Cono is located within the Sierra del Divisor National Park, one of the most remote areas of the entire Amazon, and is the only true mountain range in the lower Amazon basin. For researchers, even approaching this place is already a challenge, and for climbers, it's needless to say, but that's the main reason this mountain made the list. You are forbidden from going there. The area overlaps with the lands of contacted indigenous groups, and Peru considers this region to be highly protected. Even if you somehow made it that far, there are no trails on Cerro El Cono itself, no marked routes on maps, and no documented ascents. The slopes are steep, heavily vegetated, and unstable. According to information from research teams, the ground is said to be so dense and rugged that most attempts to reach the upper slope simply turn back. No one has officially recorded a climb. Yet, despite all this, Cerro El Cono possesses an almost legendary status. On clear days, people say you can see its silhouette from the foothills of the Andes Mountains. The locals see it as a sacred mountain spirit. 4. Mount Lico, Mozambique. In the same region of Mozambique, scientists noticed another mysterious green spot on Google Earth. But this time, the forest was sitting on top of a hill, completely surrounded by sheer cliffs. It's such a secluded place that almost no one has dared to go there. Mount Lico, this peak reaching approximately 1,100 meters in height, has a unique structure. But the height is not what makes it special. What is on top is what matters. Mount Lico was identified as another unexplained green spot on Google Earth by the same scientist, this time on top of a rock tower. Unlike the vast forest of the previous peak, the summit of Mount Lico is a flat, circular plateau surrounded by walls that rise almost vertically up to 700 meters on all sides. Due to these cliffs, reaching the forest on the summit was practically impossible. Even local communities living around Mount Lico said they had never climbed there and that no one had any traditions or paths for visiting the summit. Scientists first noticed the forest around 2012 while scanning satellite images. From above, it looked like a perfect green circular ring sitting atop a rock tower. In 2018, a team of about 28 climbers and researchers finally embarked on an expedition to reach the summit of Mount Lico. To access the plateau, they had to climb a 125-meter vertical surface using fixed ropes, equipment, and eventually carry the scientists to the summit. 5. Emi Koussi, Northern Chad, Sahara Desert. I'm taking you to the Central Sahara. Here, Emi Koussi rises thousands of meters above the desert in such a remote and politically sensitive area that reaching its base can require days or weeks of travel through empty sand. Emi Koussi, a massive shield volcano reaching approximately 3,400 meters in height, making it the highest peak in all of the Sahara. What makes reaching Emi Koussi so difficult is not the climb itself, but everything around it. The summit sits in one of the most remote and politically sensitive regions of the desert, in the Tibesti Mountains of northern Chad. To get there, you need daily 4x4 crossings over completely empty terrain, carrying your own fuel, water, and supplies. And because the region overlaps with tribal lands and has a long history of instability, travel often requires permits, local escorts, or both. When you finally reach Emi Koussi, the scale of the volcano becomes apparent. The summit area is immense. With a massive outer caldera, approximately 15 kilometers in diameter, and a volcanic complex 60 to 70 kilometers wide. Historical records even mention that the local people lived inside the summit caldera and carved artificial caves into the rock. Despite its size, Emi Koussi has been surprisingly little studied. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe for similar content. See you in the next video. It's also interesting how much of this list exists because of modern tools. A scientist zooming in on a random green patch on Google Earth uncovered one of Africa's last undiscovered forests. Precise aerial mapping revealed Alaska's true Arctic high point. Even Peru's forest kept a pyramid-shaped peak hidden until recently. The discovery is not over. It has only been moved to a new starting point, the satellite map on your screen. Thank you for watching.